Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Poland Daily Travel. I'm Will Richardson, your host and your guide to Lower Silesia, or a city in Lower Silesia. It's called Głogów. If you saw yesterday's episode or the day before, we've been in Głogów for a couple of days. And before that we were in a castle, and before that we were driving from Warsaw through Kalisz, and we went to a crazy museum in Kalisz, which is amazing. With all kinds, the most eclectic, I can't say the word, eclectic museum I've ever seen. At any rate, behind us is the town center of Głogów, and let me tell you, this whole thing was destroyed. The river Oder is here. We're going to go and look at that in the second part of this. But the whole town was destroyed. So everything during the Second World War, because it was turned into a fortress, and the Russians, by the Germans, and the Russians shelled it and did the same thing they're doing to cities in Ukraine now, but with a different cause. At that point, they were on the side of the Allied forces, and ostensibly the side of Poland. But if you look behind me, you see the town hall. There in the beautiful sun, and boy, it's a gorgeous day. We're so lucky, but we chased the weather. There was method to our madness, and luckily we have enough fluency to be able to move like guerrilla travelers and guerrilla filmmakers when the weather's nice. But you see, all of this was built, and it's really, really nice. It's in the sort of old school style, most of it, or much of it, with the peaked roofs that you would see from the Hanseatic cities. And then they put in this beautiful walkway here along by the river. And it's all very quiet and carefully organized, as if the whole city were one large garden suburb, at least the center of it. That's on this side of the river. It's a little different on the other side. I don't think that side was destroyed. And I'm looking at a very beautiful church right now. You can see just behind me, you see this ruin here. We talked about that in the last program. That's the church of St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas is the patron saint of the city, along with St. Catherine. Two good choices, and two original choices. It's not Peter, it's not Paul, it's not some of the other ones, but Głogów, with its inhabitants of 65,000, I'm looking at this and wondering, how do they find the money to redo this town, rebuild it in such a beautiful way? There's probably German investment for sure, but it's manufacturing, it's business that's driving this, and taxes from business and taxes from the people who work in those businesses, because Silesia is a hub of tech and industry, tech and also manufacturing, and heavy industry too. Copper is a big industry in this area. There's some coal mining still, and other logistics industries, manufacturing of all kinds of food products, etc. So there's a lot of industry, and particularly in this area, it seems to have created a boom and enough tax money so that total reconstructions can take place like this. I think it's marvelous. And it's all happened in basically the last 20 years. But that's been the story of Silesia for the last 20 years. And Wrocław, too, is totally transformed. A lot of these former Prussian parts are ahead of the eastern parts in Poland. Gdansk, for example, is amazing now. The difference in Gdansk 40 years ago, if you look at the photographs, and now is, I mean, it looks like almost a completely different city. Color, the color of advertising, the color that's provided by people having disposable income and earnings to go out and enjoy themselves, transforms cities. You don't have to worry about the countryside, but it transforms cities. What transformed the countryside, of course, is the growth in export of foodstuffs and other commodities which are grown. Yeah, but you know that. You're all better economists than I am. This is the Oder River, and it flows from here, from this direction, to this direction, north. Wrocław is that way. Szczecin and the Baltic is this way. Szczecin about 2.5 hour drive from here. The Oder starts, well, a few hundred kilometers to the south in the Czech Republic. It starts south of Ostrava, which is a northern town. You probably know that, near the border, but not on the border, with Poland. And it starts, I don't know, at about 1,500 feet, I think. It's not that high up. There must be, anyway, the source is in a national park in the Czech Republic, and at some point we're going to go there. We're going to trace the Oder River when the weather gets a little warmer. But this isn't bad for February. I'm not complaining. It's a beautiful day. But if you're out in it for a long time, it can get a bit nippy. But as a friend of mine says, a Russian friend of mine says, she says, if you're cold, it's because you didn't dress properly. Okay. The Russians, they're like that, aren't they? Yeah. At any rate, the Oder River. And so Głogów has a port. It's this direction behind me, and you see these wires and everything, and there's train tracks below, and I guess they're going to the port. So I don't know if it's still in a great amount of use, because I don't see boats. I haven't seen a single boat or any kind of transport on the river since we've been here walking about. But I know there is a port because I read about it. And I know that once upon a time, of course, Głogów would have been an important port because of the copper industry from a long time ago up till now. And remember, they used to make a lot of things out of copper that they don't anymore. Well, we used to make wire out of copper, pots and pans, and all kinds of utensils you would use in the house. Money, copper and money. They used to call them coppers, the cheapest money. So, in English, and grosze in Polish. Okay. At any rate, that's all we have for this program. I think I'm just going to watch the river roll by and imagine that we were taking a trip north with the flow of the river to the Baltic Sea, through Szczecin, up to the mouth of the river at Świnoujście and into the Baltic Sea.